Good morning everyone, and thank you very much for joining this new publication of results of Latin NCAP. This is phase 8. We are releasing this publication from May 2017. We are starting our publication with the video that we usually show with the results of the vehicles. The models we tested in this phase 8 delivery of results on May is the Chevy Onix, made in Brazil, 2 airbags standard version, and the Kia Rio sedan version, no airbags. It's the basic version available, made in Korea. These are the 2 vehicles that were selected. The Onix has 2 airbags in the standard version, and the Kia Rio sedan has no airbags in the standard version. At first, we're going to see the results of the Chevy Onix. Remember that the Chevrolet Onix was tested in 2014 under the old protocol, and it was 3 stars, but under this sides impact assessment projecting the new protocol, it's 0 stars for adults and 3 stars for child occupant protection. We are now watching the video of the frontal crash performed in 2014 for the Chevy Onix. We have done this procedure with also other cars last year, the Peugeot 208 and also for the Fiat Palio, both good sellers in Brazil, and the Onix is top selling in Brazil as well. The frontal impact of the Chevy Onix offered a 3 stars for adults in that case, and the vehicle offered a stable structure and footwell rupture on that version. In this scenario, Latin NCAP, and as we did with the other cars, we performed the side impact test on this vehicle. And here now we're watching the side impact assessment, and we have seen a dramatic penetration, an important penetration on the B pillar of the vehicle, but mainly the big problem was the chest compression of the adult. This was actually, the compression went above the limits of Latin NCAP, and this actually explains the 0 stars for this vehicle. The other points that we found out in this car, as you can see now in the rear view of the side impact, is that the rear door on the second row, on the child occupant's row, opened during the crash, and this is another concern for Latin NCAP, the performance of this vehicle, because it exposes to a risk, to higher risk, the child occupants. Now we're going for the Kia Rio sedan, no airbags in the standard version, 0 stars for adults, 1 star for child occupant protection. In this case, both adults in the front have red heads. So clearly this vehicle, we need 2 airbags in the front to stay away from the 0 stars, potentially. The frontal test of the car, the structure showed a stable performance, a good stable performance, in fact, also in the footwell area. Of course, the head of the driver hitting the steering wheel and the chest as well, both explain the high levels of injuries, or potential injuries, and this is actually the reason why this car was rated with 0 stars, as the head values were above the limits. When it comes to the child occupant protection of this vehicle doesn't have isofix anchorages, and also offers a lap belt in the center, rear center position, which is also not good for proper child occupant protection, in fact, in terms of proper installation of a child seat. Unfortunately, this car is offered in this condition, while this model is offered with in other versions in Latin America with better safety equipment. As mentioned at the beginning, the red head in the driver and passenger both explain clearly that this car with just a driver airbag would not make a difference. We remind you that Kia, as it was explained in the publication, Kia committed to offer the new Rio and the new Picanto with at least driver airbag. According to these results, of course, this is the actual Rio sedan. In this scenario, this car with a driver airbag would probably still stay in the 0 stars. Summary of results: Chevy Onix, 0 stars for adults, 3 stars for the child occupant protection. As a reminder, this car was tested in the side impact. Chest compression was high for the adults, and this actually explains 0 stars for the adult occupant protection, and 3 stars for the child occupant protection. The Onix showed a door opening in the rear, the second row, and also a large penetration, an important penetration of the B pillar. The door opening in the rear, in this case of this vehicle, if this car would have been tested under Regulation 95, which is side impact protection in UN regulation, this car would have not passed, would have failed the test because of this door opening. So this is actually another disappointment in a very popular car, being the best-selling one in Brazil. The Kia Rio sedan was 0 stars for adult and 1 star for child occupant protection. This car is sold, actually it's still offered with without airbags and without ABS system, and this is once again another surprise for Latin NCAP, and of course not a very good one. Finally, in this last slide, we have 3 pictures of the 3 side impact cars that we have performed during the last few months. These 3 cars we are showing now are among the most popular cars in the region, mainly in the Brazilian market. At first, we see the Peugeot 208 made in Brazil. Second, in the middle, is the Fiat Palio made in Brazil. And third, on the right, is the Chevy Onix made in Brazil. As you can see, there is a line, horizontal line, that actually goes from one front axle to the rear axle. And it's basically where the original profile of the structure used to be before the crash. And in the Peugeot, in the case of the Peugeot, we see a slight deformation of the lower seal. In the case of the Palio, we see that it's it's one of the 3 cars actually that keeps almost the original shape and the original position of the lower seal. And on the right, the Chevy Onix, we can clearly see the distance between the final position of the B pillar and the red line that was the original position of the lower ceiling of the car. This shows the important B pillar penetration that Latin NCAP mentioned many times. This car, probably with a side airbags, eventually would have not been enough to offer proper protection to the adults. Also, door opening in the rear, as it was shown in the videos, it's something else that we criticized on the Chevy Onix. Finally, we would like to thank you very much for joining this latest publication, and we would like to acknowledge as well our supporters, the Bloomberg Philanthropies, FI Foundation, Global NCAP, ICRT, and IDB. Without their support, this program would not be possible. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next time in our next publication next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.